Hello, and welcome to Keeping It Real. My name is K-tron, and this is Geeking Out Network. And here today I have my good friend Jet Mike.
Hey everybody, I'm Jet Mike.
And you may not have seen me before on the Geeking Out Network, or maybe you have. I'm pretty deep in there. If not, let me introduce myself. So, have you ever had a grandmother with an illegal cable box? Or perhaps a father with a VHS tape collection meticulously hand-labeled? Or perhaps you were also the kid in the neighborhood who had all of these movies and showed them to your friends, and then they got in trouble for seeing those movies. If you have, then you know me. Your childhood was mine. Hello. And I'm glad that we could share these experiences together. And if not, welcome. You can learn things right now. So, Jet Mike, my pal, what are your credentials for being here today?
Well, I'm a man who's both young and old at the same time.
Yes.
And I'm going to tell you about it on this episode.
That's good. I'm very excited to learn about that.
Thank you.
So today, what are we discussing?
Well, we're discussing us.
Us?
Not you and me, because that's improper grammar.
Right.
But the film, the Jordan Peele film.
Us.
Us.
Would that perhaps explain my attire?
It would.
It would.
Not mine.
Well, no.
No.
So, Us is the Easter film of the year, yes?
Oh yeah, it is the Easter hit
Yeah.
of the nation, and soon to be on DVD for years to come.
Yes. If you go to your local mall, there will be Easter bunnies there, perhaps, and you just bring your jumpsuit and your scissors. Perfect photo opportunity.
Don't forget your glove.
Oh yeah, just one. So let's get onto this. So this movie is the follow-up to Get Out, which was released in 2017. Jordan Peele's big breakout hit in the horror genre. It was a big deal. Yeah? Big deal?
Yeah. I mean, no one really expected him to be such a horror director right out of the bat. But he did a bang-up job.
Absolutely. Award-winning, and just garnered a whole bunch of interest in horror in a lot of people that didn't really care before. It kind of really put horror into the limelight. Not that they used the word horror, the word genre was used a lot because horror is kind of a bad word. There's a lot of stigma there, so they're kind of trying to pull back from it, but we can use that word here.
Yeah, I mean, horror won't win an Academy Award.
But a genre film.
A genre film
A
will.
genre film will.
Yes.
So, this is also a horror film, yes? Get Out.
I would say
Us,
so.
yes.
Yeah.
This follow-up, since the first movie had so much going for it, like, just people couldn't stop talking about it, including people who never talk about horror movies. So this one coming out, there was kind of a lot riding on it. There's a lot of anticipation, expectation, and just general, like, excitement to see it, since the last one was so big. So how do you feel this follow-up held up?
In ways it surpassed. They got a 75% budget increase for the second film due to the success of the first. They're vastly different films.
Yes.
In terms of tone and story, certainly.
I definitely felt this was a more visual film.
Yes, agreed. Much more colorful.
Get Out was very cerebral. A lot of, there were visuals there, but it's not as bombastic as this film. Like, just right off the bat, the poster with the scissors, the jumpsuit, there's a lot to just see there, which is good. It's good that they had the budget to do that. It's good that he could kind of get out there and make something visual for people.
Get out there.
Yeah, see? And I know he did that on purpose. Yeah. He did. And it's good. It's good for, like, the cosplay crowd, I'm sure, that at your next horror convention or comic book convention or whatever, there's going to be somebody in a jumpsuit with a pair of scissors running around, which is great. It's very exciting. But yeah, that's good. That's good for him.
There were, that's different too, because there were a lot of, in Get Out, there were a lot of instances where you could see where things were going, even though you weren't always correct, probably. But this movie takes a lot more attention and thought, and there's a lot to debate even after seeing it.
Yes, absolutely. Coming out of the theater, even in the theater, when the credits are rolling, I heard a lot of people kind of, oh, did you see the thing we saw? Oh, that was the thing. And then walking out through the lobby, there was a whole cluster of people where one guy was explaining everything to everybody else. And they were like, oh, I didn't think of that. Oh, look at that. And now, of course, there's a lot of theories that are out there that they left it so open that there are a lot of things that you could fill in and talk about and debate. And I think that's good. That's very important. It gives it sort of a staying power that you have to watch it a couple times to see more things, that sort of thing. And yeah, I got really excited. I like that that people want to talk about the movie after you've seen the movie. That's kind of a good thing, a good measure.
Yeah, it's also a great thing too when a director can make a movie you want to see multiple times without thinking it's a cash grab. And this is definitely not a cash grab.
No, I don't think so. Mr. Peele, is very much a fan of horror, and you can, not only because he said that and made horror movies, but you can tell in the film too, as horror fans that we are, you can kind of tell when somebody's like faking it to make it kind of deal. And there's so many little Easter eggs that are thrown in. Easter movie of the year. And, just there's a lot to go through after you've seen the movie and, you've experienced the plot or whatever, but then you can go and pick through all the little things. And that's also fun for people. My favorite in the beginning of the film, at the scene at the Santa Cruz Pier, when you see young Adelaide. That's how you say it, right? Adelaide.
Yeah.
It's Adelaide.
Yeah.
Young Adelaide's there, and you hear her mother mention, oh, they're filming a movie down by the carousel today. And the beginning of the film takes place in 1986. So actually, there was a movie being filmed in 1986, and that was The Lost Boys. So that was great. It's hard to not associate that pier with that movie. And I'm not sure why he chose Santa Monica to do it, or because it's so iconic, and just to have it in his film and say, oh, look, horror is awesome. But I'm glad that they did make the reference, because it's hard to not think of it when you're looking at that Ferris wheel and all the lights.
It's such a good setting that I'm really surprised that more films, horror or non-horror, have used that kind of a setup before this. Other than The Lost Boys, of course.
Right, yeah. That whole pier by the beach, if you've ever been to one of those before, whether it's in California or if it's in Massachusetts or anywhere there is a beach, there is a particular feeling and setting to that. It's very carnival. You get carnival and beach at the same time, so that whole carnival horror, clowns and fun houses and whatnot, and then beach horror with water and sharks and scary things. You get both, and yeah, you need to take advantage of that. I'm surprised more haven't. Yeah. So this movie opens in 1986 with a television, and on the television is a commercial. And what is this commercial for?
I don't know, because I was looking at the stuff on the side of the TV.
All right, well, we'll go to the stuff on the side of the TV. So even just the opening of this movie, everything in this movie is deliberate, or at least supposedly is deliberate. Everything that you see, they've put in there to set up as part of the plot, or some sort of foreshadowing, or even just like a fun reference to something. So that's where my eyes went. I'm looking at the screen, and then there's it's a TV in a little, what do you call it, entertainment center thing.
Yeah. And
on the sides of the television are some tapes, some VHS tapes. What are on those tapes?
Okay, so we have a lot. So we have The Man with Two Brains, which, is, it's comedy horror, which it isn't a setup because this is not a comedy horror movie. But he's a very funny man. The Right Stuff, which was certainly important at that time for the space exploration. Then we get into we do get a few little tidbits of where plot points will be going with Chud.
Yes, absolutely. My eyes went right to Chud.
Yeah.
All capital letters. What does Chud stand for, Jet Mike?
Let me see. Now you put me on the spot. And
Cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers.
see, the voice from beyond knows what that is
Thank you,
about.
Jingle Sticks. So, Chud. Cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers. In case you haven't seen Chud before or have never heard the term Chud, which I don't know if they invented it for the movie and then pretended that was a thing or if it was a thing beforehand. You certainly think, oh, there's Chud by the television.
I watched that the night before a hurricane because I couldn't sleep because the hurricane was coming.
Right.
And it was on HBO, and that's the only time that I actually saw that movie.
I know I saw it at some point and remember the biggest part of Chud is the underground thing, and I thought, maybe this will come into play later. And the other film that I also saw on the side was The Goonies. And great big portion of that movie takes place underground. So I thought, those are two things that mean that thing, so maybe that'll come into play later. And I think maybe it will. And was that it?
Nightmare on Elm Street, I believe, also.
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
So a lot of horror nods for us horror nerds.
And yeah, good little things to check out. So on the television, I can't remember if there's a couple ads, but there's definitely the one big ad for Hands Across America. So Hands Across America, what was that?
All right, so Hands Across America was awesome because it wasn't awesome at all. When I was a kid, my sister and I were all about Hands Across America because the thought of everyone in the country holding hands with some stranger to go all around
Across America.
Okay. That was what we wanted to do because we didn't think it was possible.
Right.
And it turns out it wasn't possible.
Not possible.
No, not possible. But we wanted to do it, so we were all about it, and we wanted the T-shirts most of all, and we didn't get those either. But yeah, I was prime for standing out in the road in the rain.
Did you?
No.
Did you ever?
My sister and I would have been the only two people out in our neighborhood, and they would have thought we were trying to do a Shining thing.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Good. But it was big for the time, and it was a fundraiser? Is that what it was? Something along those lines?
Either that or a cult or something. I don't... Yes.
Or a combination thereof.
Yes.
So the first, I don't know, what is that, 2 minutes of the movie? A lot of that stuff does come into play later, which is great. Like, if you were paying attention, there's some stuff right there. If you weren't, that's fine. It'll come into play later. So yeah, I like that. I like the visual. It was a good setup for the time period too, to see the TV, the tapes, without necessarily having somebody come on TV and be like, well, it is 1986, which maybe happened. I don't remember if it did though. So yeah, that's good.
And it's also a great way to show you where technology is at without making it blatantly obvious that there is no texting, etc. As many horror movies do with there's no service here, and they have to say that.
Yeah, that's true.
Don't have to worry about that with this film.
Right. And then after the beginning of the film, then it does kick into now times 2019, I'm assuming, is the time it kicks in. And then continues. And then once it does, then you see Adelaide grown up. She's an older woman. She's got a family. And her family somehow just end up back at the beach. They have a house by the beach where she's had a creepy experience. Because that's what you do, You have something terrible happen, and then you move 5 minutes down the street from it. And I started seeing bunnies right away. Again, Easter film of the year. Since I already saw the tapes on the television, I knew that there was going to be things that I should look for. And I did see there was a rabbit on the daughter's shirt. There was a little plush bunny that Adelaide has from her childhood. and I just kind of kept an eye out for them. Rabbits are generally, they're used a lot in movies and books and things because of their whole association with Alice in Wonderland. And just even mentioning that kind of puts people in a mindset of like, oh, there's rabbits, follow the white rabbit in the Matrix, right? That kind of, it's a good symbol and visual for people. And I did see like, oh, there's two rabbits. It can't be a coincidence. Everything in this movie must be a thing. And that's where coincidences kind of kick in. What do you remember first seeing a couple at all in the film?
Yeah, I mean, and going on to the rabbit thing, which I didn't even notice. I mentioned that to you. I was, I noticed obviously at the, the opening credits have a lot of rabbits, but I didn't notice the other connections after. I just thought, well, I knew that would come into play, but at the same time, when you see a rabbit in a horror movie, rabbits are cute, and so they disarm you. But when you see them in a horror movie, it has the exact opposite effect, because you don't want them to be harmed. And then, and then we'll see. I did notice, the son's name. In current times, the son's name was Jason. Yes. And he wore a mask through most of the film.
He did.
So I thought that was very interesting. It was a Wolfman mask, but, I probably would have gotten some trouble if it was a hockey mask.
I kept thinking it was a Chewbacca, but it wasn't. It was Wolfman. It was. Like Universal Horror Wolfman kind of thing. I did think, oh, the son's name is Jason, like Jason. It never also occurred to me that he wore a mask and that Jason wears a mask. So I watched the whole movie, and it wasn't until you said Jason wears a mask just like Jason in the movie. And I thought, oh, yeah. So, yeah, there we go. You missed the rabbits. I missed the Jason wears a mask. Who knew? I did remember early on in the film, Adelaide is staring at a table, and there's a big fake tarantula sitting on the table, and then a small spider, like a real spider, crawling across the table next to the fake spider. And I thought, that's weird. How often does that happen? But that seems to come up a lot in this movie, where there are a bunch of strange coincidences. The time 11:11, haunted forever now. Every time I look at the clock and see that, I'm like, oh, that's what that means. And if you are looking for spoilers, we're trying very hard to not spoil anything for you, just to let you know. A lot of this stuff does happen very early on into the film. So if you've watched the first 10 minutes, we haven't spoiled those for you. So the casting of the other family in this film, not the other family that looks like the main family, but the friends, the funny, weird friends that are obviously a bunch of rich snobs. I noticed Tim Heidecker right away, recognizable from Tim and Eric Awesome Show. Great job. And I thought, oh, he's in this film, because I didn't expect that. I didn't know. It took me out for a second, because he's such a strange sense of humored individual. So I thought, oh, where's this going? And his wife is played by Elizabeth Moss. She's from the Handmaid's Tale show. I couldn't remember what I saw her from while watching the movie, but I just thought, I know it's in something really funny. She's always doing funny stuff. And now she's doing this other funny thing. And then when I got home, I realized, oh no, she's in The Handmaid's Tale. That is not funny. So the fact that she was so hilarious in this movie, I was like, all right, good job. You got me. You tricked me. So yeah, did you know that he was going to be in this movie going into it?
I didn't know any of the supporting cast. And I also hadn't seen Handmaid's Tale or Tim and Eric. So their performances were a complete surprise to me.
Ah, yes.
Which made it better.
And they are good. They're very much the foil to the main family. Just when they ultimately have things happen to them, you feel like, okay, good. Yeah. So let's go back to the main family. Father is Gabe, son is Jason. The wife is Adelaide, and the daughter is Zora. So, as you've probably seen from the trailers, another family shows up to their house, and it looks just like them, or in the film, us, thus the name. And it looks like them, except that they're wearing red jumpsuits and standing outside of their house. So, those roles of the other family are played by the main cast, that main family cast. So they had to play not only one part, but two. So how do you feel they did that, doing those dual roles? Did you think they were successful?
Yeah, I think they knocked it out of the park. To play two entirely different styles, it had to take a lot of training. It had to take a lot of effort on the production team and the direction. I think they did just a fantastic job with it, and with really understanding two different roles, in one film and seeing how they go together to complement the other at the same time. That's a very difficult thing to do.
Right, and a lot of the scenes they're playing together, obviously they've been edited in, but to have to act opposite yourself, especially when there's not another actor there. Well, there's probably, I don't know if there is somebody filled in, but whatever. You know what I mean? To act opposite yourself and to know that you have to play off of another character you're also playing, that can't be easy. And the young people in the movie, the kids, they did a great job, as well as the adults. I actually went home and looked it up to see if it was the same people playing the roles, because I was so... they just played it so differently that I was just I'm just going to make sure. I'm pretty sure, but I just want to make sure. And they did. They did a great job with it. It can't be easy, but it's also going to be hard to remember twice as much as stuff, but also maybe a little bit fun. So you can play the normal, oh, I'm so scared, and at the same time play the, oh, I'm the opposite, I'm going to go chase you around kind of character.
Yeah, and especially for the kids too, it's they have a lot less experience, so a lot more training involved, but it could probably be a lot more fun too to play different characters, when you're a young actor.
Definitely. So the movie is weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Would you say it is more or less so than Get Out?
I'd say it's more weird, definitely.
Get Out kind of plays it normal till you get to the end. This movie right away, even just through the trailers, you're like, weird things are going to happen. And then they just keep happening, which is good. There's more to happen that you're not going to expect in this movie. And it has gotten people talking. That a film that's not only a horror film, when we went to see it, me and Jingle Sticks, it was packed theater. So, and when we left, of course, everybody's talking about it in the lobby. That's great. That makes me so happy that there are people that are not into not only this horror movie, but this weird horror movie enough that they're filling the seats and talking about it. People are making lots of videos on it. All kinds of theories are flying around on the internet, and that's great. That makes me very happy. I'm glad that the genre is getting some publicity through this film. I feel like Jordan Peele is a big fan, and he's really pushing, or not even having to push, just him being himself and making what he's making is getting people into it. And that's good. That's good. Have you had people who maybe aren't necessarily into horror talking about this film? Have you heard anything out there that's just different, that's surprising you about it?
I mean, it seems like everybody who's a movie fan is, this, you I guess it could be, a genre film, since so many non-horror fans are watching this film. And then making their own theories, which I'm not going to say any of the theories because it all involves the end of the movie and I'm not spoiling it. But they are out there should you want to know.
Yes.
But there are unending amounts of theories about the way this film ended, and I thought it was a pretty surprising yet cut and dried movie, for the ending. But so many people are reading different ways into it, and that's a great thing about film if it can keep people talking and interpreting differently. Not just taking and going, yeah, okay, that was a movie, and then they won't come back. But Mr. Peele is very talented at what he does and very dedicated and passionate about making good stories first, and that it happens to be in the horror genre. That is a bonus, for us horror fans. So I'm exceptionally happy. When I saw it the first matinee of the first day that it came out because I happened to not be working that day. So I didn't get that experience of a full theater. There was, 5 of us, and I was the last one out, so I didn't talk to anyone or hear any chatter.
Yeah.
So it's great to know the people were talking.
Yeah, I think maybe it was a weekend, or at least almost a weekend. Definitely nighttime when we ended up seeing it. And yeah, there was people. People came out. They got out and saw us.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. And I also want to talk about music in this movie. It had a great soundtrack. It was very engaging, and kind of important for some of the plot points. It kind of came in and grabbed people. The scene in the car, which I believe is in the trailer, where you see the family jamming out. I got 5 on it, which is great. And later on, when you see the house of the Tyler family, it's Tim Heidecker and Miss Moss together, then they also have their version of Siri. I think it was called Ophelia. And that whole scene is just hilarious, with the two of them talking together and then talking to the Ophelia machine.
I definitely will not get any kind of Echo or Siri, etc. device in my home. Particularly because of this film.
Yes, that's perhaps what you should be coming away with. I don't think I need one of those. Yeah, that's good. Do you have anything else you want to say that we haven't said yet?
I noticed we were talking about coincidences and whatnot. So I noticed that Zora, the daughter, she has a book entitled "They Came from Below." So much like the Goonies and Chud, that is a very interesting plot device.
That's another way of them sort of pointing and leading you down these little pathways. That's right. Yep.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of those little things. You go back and watch it again, and I'm sure you'll find twice as much.
Right.
So, I guess we've come to the point where we should probably rate this film.
That sounds good to me. Okay.
So, what do you think? What is your rating for Us? Not Us.
Not Us.
You can tell me that in private. I don't need to know that here with everyone watching. What is your assessment of Us, the film?
Well, I'm going to have to give Us, the film, 3 out of 5 scissors.
Okay, very good. I think I'm going to give Us, the film, 3.5 plush bunny heads. 3.25 maybe. So about yay. So it's good. It's definitely good. Get out and see it. See it a couple times.
Get out and see it.
I feel like they did this on purpose. Like they're purposely naming, like Mr. Peele's like, I'm just going to make a sentence.
He said it in the movie too.
Really?
Yeah. That was at one point.
See? So, all right, we'll look forward to the next film, which might be, I don't know, later.
That's an alligator movie.
Is it?
It's Later Alligator.
Oh, right, yeah. And then, of course, we'll do Us versus Them, the film Them. We'll definitely get on that. That's what Jingle Sticks out there suggested. So, yeah, definitely. If you want us to do that, let us know. We will. We will review them. It's about ants, right?
Yeah, it's about ants.
I feel like I saw them. right?
Maybe that could be an episode of the Jordan Peele's The Twilight Zone, since he took that over.
Oh, he did.
That we
yes,
could, you know,
absolutely.
remake them as a Twilight Zone type thing.
So I guess that's it. That about wraps it up for us. And I'd like to thank everybody for watching. And if you've got any questions or comments, if you want to hash out some theories in the comments section, I guess we can do that. If you can't help yourselves, then we will, we'll go in there. We'll figure things out for you. Yeah, we can talk. And yeah. So this show is new on the Geeking Out Network. This is our first one. If you can't tell, we are so happy to be here. So get ready for some more movie content. If you like lists, we can list things for you. And if you like movie reviews, like this one, we can do that. And if you like obscure movies you didn't even know were a thing, we can inform you of such things. Absolutely. So yeah, that's it. Here at Keeping It Real and the Geeking Out Network, we're really happy to have you watching. So yeah, give us a like, subscribe, comment, whatever you want to do. And if you just enjoyed us just a little bit, that would go a long way, you know? Right. So yes, I'd like to thank you again for watching, listening, however you're experiencing this. I am K-tron.
I am Jet Mike.
And thank you for watching the Geeking Out Network. And as always, keep on keeping it real.